Hey everybody, it's Gigapolis here, and I wanted to discuss something that I feel many of the fans, many of the fans and detractors of the Rise of Skywalker are talking about it. It's a big point of contention for those who people do not like the movie, and something that people who do like the movie are completely fine with. And that being the return of Palpatine. Now, personally, I'll just get this little segment out of the way real quick and get into the actual substance. Did not like his return. But the film, and I'm gonna be saying this a lot in my videos coming up, especially discussing theories about this movie, or trying to answer things from it. A lot of it's purposely ambiguous and incredibly vague. And I think that's by design, so you can't say definitively one way or the other, which allows people to then wiggle out of arguments or not have a cohesive line of thinking, because everything is interpretive at that point. You could say, on one hand, the Emperor survived his fall. We don't know that that's true or not. We can say it's a clone. We don't know if it's true or not. You can say he went through a wormhole, a force rift in time. You can say all kinds of shit, because you don't know it's true. You don't know it's false. You don't know anything, which is why I can't stand ambiguous storytelling. I'm currently writing a book, and when I'm writing, I think to myself, does this make sense? When somebody reads this, are they going to be thinking, well, how did this happen? And the less hows I have in a story, to me, I feel the better it is. Unless I'm trying to add mystery, to a question I will answer. This, despite J.J. Abrams' constant mystery box theory, doesn't really answer any of those boxes when they are opened. Those boxes are essentially empty, or just have an IOU in it. So, yeah, well, maybe next time. So, let's talk, though, about what I believe is the most plausible theory of how Palpatine survived. Palpatine, in the opening portions of this movie, when he's first introducing himself to Kylo Ren, says a line that, to me, allows me to stomach it, because I can then stretch it to mean X, Y, and Z. Again, I hate having to do that, because then I feel like I'm both A, writing the movie for it, and B, it seems very apologetic. Like I'm forgiving this movie for doing stupid things like that. But I digress. The theory that I have came up with as to how the Emperor survived goes like this. And what got me to this conclusion was the line, "I have died before." So, with that being said, and I feel like that's a line that people tend to gloss over or just say, what's a common complaint that people have with it? Something along the lines of, well, that's not good enough. Okay, yeah, he said that, but how does he survive? How is he here? Is that his original body? I don't think that's his original body. It could be, and I'm going to take both possibilities. Because again, I don't know, and this circles back to the ambiguousness. I don't know for sure. I don't think it is personally. I think that it was a cloned body. The reason it looked so deformed was because okay, I was about to say something, but I'm not sure if everybody actually does know this. I don't know if it's still canon, but Making clones that are force sensitive are very difficult. Clearly, Palpatine is force sensitive. That's the reason Snoke looks so fucked up, I would presume. Again, I'm having to write this for it, but anyways, that's why I believe Snoke looks as, deformed as he does, because force-sensitive cloning is extremely difficult. And maybe the reason, I'm going to answer two things here. Why didn't they make a bunch of Snokes then, if that was the case? And the question as to how the Emperor's back. To answer the thing with the Snoke was the cloning is difficult for force-sensitive people. Snoke's extremely force-sensitive, very powerful in the Force. So perhaps he was the only clone that was able to be sustainable. And didn't, fall apart or go insane or whatever. Furthermore, that's what I believe the body Palpatine is using is a cloned body. However, he could have died. I always presumed he incinerated and was completely atomized in the destruction of the second Death Star. But I guess since we didn't see that, I can again give it like the most benefit of the doubt I possibly can and say, okay, his body survived, he's dead, and those Sith people, Sith loyalists, I believe what they were called, found his body through the Force. They sensed where his body was and did a ritual, because clearly they're into rituals, as I'll get to with the end, which is another thing that people seem to, again, I don't know definitively this, but logically it makes the most sense, seem to misunderstand about that scene, again, from a logic standpoint. So maybe his Sith loyalists found his body out drifting in space or whatever, attached to all these machines, did a dark side ritual, and had his soul return to that body. That could also be how it is. So either way, either it's a clone, and due to the process of cloning Force sensitives, it looks so degenerated, or it actually is the original Emperor's body, and it just somehow wasn't completely annihilated during the second Death Star. So let's just say that. And he was brought back to a dark Force ritual by his Sith loyalists, and having attached to that machine, his soul was able to re-enter his body. That's why his body is technically dead. He is dead, but he was able to come back not on his own volition, but with the help of these other Sith loyalists. To me, that makes it a lot more palatable, because that doesn't then undermine what the original movies did. At least not in the aspect of, did Anakin actually get the job done? Because yes, he did. But for people to then say, well, that doesn't matter. He eventually, it doesn't matter what Anakin did. He killed him, yeah, whatever, but he still came back. To me, I think it's a little unfair. Because of the fact, if he only came back through means, at least if my theory is correct, through means that were unforeseen by them. Impossible for either Luke or Anakin to know. Which is why I'm against the theories of him being a clone on the second Death Star. I can't stand that one, because that one does delegitimize the sacrifice. But this, my theory doesn't, which is again why I thought of it, because when I was watching this movie and he said, I have died before. So to me, he wouldn't say that if a clone died. He would say that if he died and he came back. And this is the only thing logically I can think of. And when I say rituals, because I mentioned that earlier, we know that they do rituals because at the end of the movie, he was trying to perform a ritual for Rey to take his body. It is implied in his words that if she just takes out her lightsaber, cuts head off, immediately he would possess her body. I don't think that's what he was saying. I think what he was going for was, we're going to do this ritual. That's why he takes the sword. She does the thing. If it was as simple as him just dying, he would have said, "Oh, quickly stab me. Done. We're done." He wouldn't have done the whole song and dance with, she does this, and now she accepts this. She does this. The people cheer. It wouldn't have been all that to do. I mean, think about it. So, to me, it had to be that ritual. That's what was going on. And the reason that she would agree to that is because even if she killed him, she knows that her friends are up there getting annihilated by these stupid Death Star tech, whatever, destroyers. Fucking ridiculous. I'll talk about those at some time. And she doesn't want to see her friends, I'm assuming that's what they're going for, being killed. So, the only thing she could have done is done the ritual, have Palpatine possess her. He calls off the assault, whatever. Obviously, he wouldn't have, but I guess that's what she was thinking, or whatever. Before Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, whatever, shows back up. So that's what I'm saying. Where okay, yeah, obviously they do have some rituals that they do. So it's not as much of a stretch for me to say, okay, well, I'm sure that there's some kind of ritual to bring us. Obviously they can do a Sith transfer of the soul to somebody else. They can transfer that soul back into the original body and just attach him to a machine so his body can still live in quotes of live, you know some state of being alive, anyways. But yeah, that's my take on that, because it doesn't delegitimize the originals. It makes sense with everything that I've seen in these movies to how he could have came back in the most logical and respect to canon way. Avoiding as many plot holes as I can and respecting as much as I possibly could of the original material. So that's how I believe it actually happened, and it's the most logical way it could have happened, is he was brought back by the Loyalists, not his own power or his own whatever. He did die, the universe, or not the universe, the galaxy was at peace for a while. Anakin did bring balance to the Force, but through events that he could not possibly predict, Palpatine has returned. So that's really all I have to say on this. I'm curious what anybody else has to say. How do you think, if not this, how do you think that the Emperor came back? Besides the obvious, they had no fucking idea and they just pulled it out of their ass, because that's probably the most obvious answer. But logically, how do you think he actually came back? That was my thoughts. If you like my theory, please do let me know. And comment down below if you like the video. Do give it a like, share it around if you'd be so kind. It really will help me out. Anyways, God bless.